Happy January 4th, everyone, and welcome to our new model for Daily Thunder that we're going to sort of soak in and enjoy for the next 5 months. Welcome to our new studio. Uh, so I'm in studio right now, and I'm supposed to be with Nathan Johnson. David, could you do a two-shot? And what? Where's Nathan? So something sort of odd and humorous, and you know how God's sense of humor kicks in at times, has happened. Nathan and I knew we weren't both going to be here for January 4th. Nathan's still out and at large somewhere. I think he's in Utah right now. And so we had to pre-record this one. And he texted me on Saturday and said, Eric, have you heard the audio for that one? And it actually happened to our Friday one too. Our first two when we got together that we had to pre-record. And so it turns out that Nathan's mic was off. Oh, it's painful because they were really good. And so I was going to come in today and just redo it for all of us so that we didn't have to go through the awkwardness of, having a mic that's not as sharp in its quality as it should be. And so I had David play it for me ahead of time. I'm like, David, could you just show it to me? And so we watched it together and we sort of looked at each other like, that is really good. So here's what I decided. I decided that I'm going to still show it. This is an intro to it, but I needed to forewarn you. Nathan's mic is off. However, you could still hear him. He's just going to be picked up through my mic instead of his own. And so you could still hear it. It's like watching one of those foreign films with subtitles. At first, it's a little distracting. Then after a while, it fades and you just enjoy the movie. And that's what I'm hoping happens with this, because in listening to it, I just felt like it was meaningful. There's something about Nathan and I together on this topic, which is just setting the stage for what we're doing in this new model, why we're in this studio, and what has happened in leading up to this, in and through Daily Thunder, what that's meant to us. And I just think that Nathan's needed for that. I just can't pull off a Nathan Eric type of redo. I'm only Eric. And so I'm going to show this at risk of some of you that are a little more finicky about your quality, maybe poking at it. But I think you'll enjoy it. At least I know I have. And I want to share this as a gift for you, just to sort of kick off this new season. And so I hope it's a blessing to you and all of you are edified.
Welcome to a brand new season of Daily Thunder. I'm Nathan Johnson. I'm here with my good friend Eric Ludy, and we are beyond excited to be not only in a new format, a brand new studio. Well, in fact, it's kind of like a brand new Daily Thunder.
Everything is brand new right now. This is really fun. I think you and I are sort of giddy. I don't know if that's the right word for it.
Sounds like a little schoolgirl, though. So
okay, well, let's come up with a more macho, manly word for it then. We're thrilled, excited. Even the atmosphere that we're creating here is all on purpose, just to create a new dimension to the heralding of the gospel in this generation. So we're really excited.
So desperately needed in this hour.
So
it's amazing. We were talking even this morning about how the fact that we have spent a lot of time doing Daily Thunders over this last about 18, 19 months.
Yep.
So we started on April 29th, 2019, and we celebrate our 500th episode right before Thanksgiving.
We almost had Thanksgiving. It would have landed on Thanksgiving, except for you. You decided to give a Saturday edition, which got into our system and spread us out. So we were one early. So I'm still looking at you going, what were you thinking in that?
That special man talk conference, Daily Thunder,
Well,
undermined our special
dearly,
Thanksgiving.
Because we like it when things line up like that. But it's just a lot. I think when we first started, we didn't quite know what this was going to be like to make this type of commitment to a daily show. And I think for you and I, we both agree that it has been invigorating to our souls. Mm-hmm. It's most people have a tough time creating one message a week, and we're just popping out messages right and left. But for us, it's an exercise of soul. It's like training for a triathlon in a strange way, but spiritually. And I think for us, it's sharpened us in a beautiful and profound way.
Well, especially on those weeks where there was nobody in the live audience, knowing that we have a huge audience listening to the podcast, but in terms of the potential people who are there live, there were several weeks where it was just the two of us.
I remember there was one time you were there by yourself. You had to start the stream in the back of the chapel and then run to the front.
Pretty soon, completely empty audience.
And there was no one to tell you that you had that one thing between your teeth. So you're in a vulnerable spot in that situation.
That's very true.
But we've never done a Daily Thunder that I can remember where you and I are together. Is that true?
Yeah, we've talked about it, but
Yeah.
I don't remember us ever doing actually a full one.
So I think that's one of the things that we're excited about in this new season. Now, we probably need to explain the new season of what we mean by that.
Yep.
But do you want to go back in time first to sort of set a foundation for what we're doing with Daily Thunder and then sort of transition into where we're going? What are
Yes, I
your
think
thoughts?
it's a great idea. Would you maybe even just talk about your vision when we were originally talking and praying as staff? We were meeting almost every day or a couple times a
Yep.
week as staff, and we were just praying and just gaining God's burden
Yeah.
for how to use this campus and just how to utilize the platform that
Yeah.
God has given us. And you came up with this idea of, hey, what if we just started having daily church? Could you
Yeah.
talk through some of that, just that practicality of the passion and just that vision?
Yeah, even the reason we've been meeting or were meeting in that time specifically was as a prayer for revival. I think we all feel this burden that the way the culture is moving is rapidly downhill. It's not going uphill, it's going downhill. And here we are laboring. You feel like you're doing nothing because no matter how much you work and labor in the kingdom of heaven, it seems like the enemy is working overtime to cancel it all out. It could be discouraging, I think, is the concept that the enemy wants to breed inside of us as ministers of the gospel. And so we decided to sort of defy that. And what if, and this was the concept, what if we just let the gospel, the word of God, fly every day from our campus? What if we just pronounced it and just stuck it in the enemy's craw and just let them know we're not backing down? We're going to preach the word in season, out of season, whatever season it is, we're going to let it fly. And so I think we were inspired by God's smuggler. It's the story of Brother Andrew. When Brother Andrew had made his way over to, was it England? I don't even remember where it was, where that Bible school was. But there was a man who he was living with for a season, and that man would go to like a halfway house type of place every day and just preach. And one day they set up the chairs, and this man gets up and he's preaching, but no one's in the chairs. There's 0 people in the audience. And so the only person hearing is Brother Andrew and no one. And so Brother Andrew sort of says, why are you doing this? He says, because, someone's hearing this. The spiritual realm is beholding, is listening, is heeding. And on the way home, they run into a sort of the down and out guy. And this man who had just preached this sermon to a bunch of empty chairs just picked up right where he left off and says, as I was saying, and wins this guy to Christ. Almost like the Spirit of God was heeding, taking all of that was preached and planting it inside of this guy and readying him to hear the rest of the sermon. I don't know. It stirs me. It stirs me to say, when we preach the gospel, even if there's no one in the chairs, it's impacting the eternal realms. And I think we've built Daily Thunder on that premise. I mean, we have thousands of people that are listening to each episode. But sometimes, like you said, we're preaching to an empty crowd. We've rarely had that since those very first days when we were starting this. But we've had small crowds at times, especially I remember my 7:15 a.m. Sunday mornings where it was just you and me for multiple days. It's like, I'm not getting, Eric, I love you, but I'll just listen to the recording of that one. I'm not going to get up for that. And at the same time, to preach our hearts out in those situations, to give it our all, to lay it all on the field and to say, this is for you, Jesus. It's a little drummer boy playing his best for the newborn king. And I think for us, that inspires us. That sort of Christianity that isn't playing for a crowd and an applause, but is playing for Jesus Christ. I think that's sort of the nature of what this Daily Thunder has been for us.
Well, I think it's been so refining, I think both for us in terms of sanctification sense, but also just in terms of communication, of refining whether it's few or whether it's many. The method and the intensity should not actually change.
That's right.
In other words, it's for Jesus.
And how many times we've been tested in that when we travel and speak, because there's the times people are like, yes, and there'll be 1,000 people here. And we're like, well, I'm willing to come in and speak for that. And then they try, no, there'll be a lot of people. It's like, it's okay, even if there's not. And then there's no one there. And then it truly tests you. Are you serious? When you say that it's not for the size of the crowd, are you serious? Well, both of us have had some great and hilarious situations over the years with that. And I think it does prove your soul. It's like a refiner to your soul of what you do this for, because it's easy in ministry to do it for the fame or the renown or the applause. Bad reason to do ministry, by the way, especially in where this culture is going. If you're doing it for the approval of society, boy, you're in for a shocker in the upcoming months and years. But also to not just do it for whether it's the acclaim or even the finances that can come for it, just anything that, how many books I could sell after this. There's so many things that can get inside of your brain when you're ministering other than how does Jesus feel about this? Who is this really for? Is he smiling? And when we start doing the ministry of Jesus for that purpose, it makes it very sweet for the minister.
Yeah, it's been a very rich season.
Yeah.
Would you talk about the defibrillator idea? Because that was the language we keep coming back to in terms of our heart for this generation and what Ellerslie wants to be.
Yeah, and I think, obviously Daily Thunder is a piece of something bigger, which is the Ellerslie ministry. And our desire is to be like those defibrillator paddles that those AED machines, you come into, Walmart and some guy's laying on the ground, not breathing. And so you get out the paddles and stick him on his chest and go, kaboom. That's Ellerslie. That's, I think, the way we look at our role in the church is to strengthen that which remains before it dies. And that's the statement that we're going to see in the book of Revelation to the church at Sardis, that there's this commission to say, okay, something is still alive. There's burning embers there, but they need to be fanned into flame. There's a little life left in the body. Spark it. Stick the defibrillator paddles on the chest of the church and get it breathing again. And I think that's what we would say would be our clearest enunciation for a commission.
Amen. Amen. So over these last 18, 19 months, we've had over 500 episodes. So obviously we are changing things up. So maybe a good question for you is why? Like, why do we need to have a change?
Yeah.
Not just because we're interested in change.
Yeah.
Nor is it because we're going, we don't have enough content.
Yeah.
We were actually laughing this morning about just we actually have far more content than we'll ever have time to get through.
Yeah.
But why the necessity of actually changing the format of Daily Thunder? And maybe even talk about, it's not that we're forever changing the format. We're actually shifting into something purposeful.
It's a 2-season model that we're shifting into, and we just happen to be starting one of the seasons right now. I mean, this is the beginning, today, right now. We are shifting into what we would call an in-studio season, and then we're going to switch back June 1st, or somewhere right in that date, we always say June, into our in-chapel model. And the reason for that is our training season here at Ellerslie goes from June to the end of November or so. And so that's when our students are on campus. And so we're going to move back to the chapel for that with our headsets on. We call them our Britney Spears headsets. I don't know if that's probably not. We feel very
awkward. That's a almost horrible name for
it. Yeah,
too.
It is terrible. But we do feel sort of cool wearing our headsets, don't we? But we even threaten to wear our headsets in here because we feel sort of insecure without them right now. But we're going to be doing 2 seasons in the year, and this is our in-studio season. There's a reason for it. And I think it's deeply meaningful to us why we're doing this. It's symbolic because all throughout the year, we've always trained year-round here at Ellerslie, 3 seasons. So we have a summer, we have a fall, and we have a winter, spring. And yet we're training people to go into the world to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with boldness. And yet none of us really ever have the opportunity to go on missions trips and to actually do the going. I mean, I'll speak on a weekend somewhere, but I can't really get my family into a missions type of system, which is our whole goal. When we first started Ellerslie, we were going to have 1 season of training, and the rest of the year I was going to take my family on the mission field. Well, then once we started filling our schedule with semesters, we didn't have that opportunity. So we're deliberately shifting our Daily Thunder model to match what we're doing in our training model, which is all on purpose to free up our staff to actually go and do what we are training everyone else to do. So it's funny, the year we decided to do this, because we decided quite a while ago to make this change. Then COVID-19 strikes, and suddenly it's just like everything just shut down. We can't even travel internationally. So it makes for a unique thing. But the Ludys are still traveling and in this upcoming season here. And so we got some fun things on the horizon. But it's actually deeply meaningful for us. The reason why we're switching Daily Thunder is because these sorts of things we can actually pre-record at times when we know we're going to be out of town. So as a result, it frees us to not be just location dependent here in the chapel. And it gives us that opportunity to be flexible and mobile, which we're excited about.
It is. It also allows us to kind of shift even the content. Mm-hmm. In other words, we started with 7 days a week, and then we've kind of moved back to a 5-day-a-week model with Sunday sermon kind of being a separate thing. But in our 5-day-a-week model in the new format during this kind of the studio season, one of the things we're actually excited is to bring some different textures that we've never had the opportunity to do. For
like
example,
this.
like this. This is actually kind of a I've been anticipating.
I'm sort of enjoying it so far. I mean, you're not that bad of a guy to talk
That's
to.
good. I'm glad that the first 5 minutes of this new season has proven to
Yes,
be worthwhile.
great success. Let's keep doing it.
But the plan as of right now is on Mondays, we're obviously kind of flip-flopping this week's Monday and Tuesday just so that we can start with an overview of this new format. But moving forward, Mondays, you're actually going to be teaching a little mini-series, which we'll talk about in a second. Tuesdays and Fridays are going to be kind of this discussion-based questions and answers and just walking through just stuff that the church is dealing with or just stuff that's burden issues on our heart. But Wednesday is actually exciting because for the first time...
Oh, big announcement here.
This is first time in Daily Thunder history. Leslie Ludy is actually going to come in and have an actual spot in Daily Thunder.
Yeah.
So that in the studio season, we'll actually get her voice, which I think is actually so important for this generation because she has such a great depth and wisdom. And obviously, she has a great reach to the young women of today. So having her voice as a part of this is going to be a really rich addition. So that'll be Wednesdays. Thursdays, I'll have a little mini-series. And then again, Friday will be discussions. Would you talk, though, about these little mini-series things on the Monday and the Thursday? What on earth are they and why are we even doing them?
So on Monday and Thursday, as you were saying, I'll take the session on Monday. It'll be like a whole study, but it will be broken up into 4 parts. The first part will be released on Daily Thunder. So it'll be, we're guessing 15 to 20 minutes in length, but every time you and I say that, they become 50 or an hour. These have to be shorter because they're going to be part of a series. And it'll be likely, I think all of them will be like a 4-part series. And I'm saying that in faith, not knowing exactly how these are going to all play out, but they'll probably be 4-part series. So we'll introduce you to the first piece and you can listen to the 15 to 20 minute piece. And if there's interest or desire to go deeper, we're actually creating 3 more parts that you can then take deeper, which I think is just a really neat thing because in Daily Thunder, you can only package so much and yet there's so much more depth. So this creates in a one sit down for us, we film 4 parts, but then we deliver one, which can stand alone, but hopefully intrigues you to say, you know what, I want to keep chewing on that one. I want to go deeper. And that would be the goal is that we're saying, hey, let's come into deeper waters. And that's the hope of what happens through those.
Well, one thing we've noticed too is one of the things I love about our chapel season, or what we're calling now season, is the fact that we actually have some time to develop and just go through some of this rich content.
Yeah.
But it is really hard for someone to stay on top of a season. I mean, like to stay on top of every single episode is hard.
How many times have we heard that people are like 4 months behind in your Ephesians series, 3 months behind in my World War II series, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
But that makes sense though. I mean, if each episode is 30 to 45, 50 minutes, sometimes over an hour, it's hard to...
It's great for us.
Yeah, that's right. And it is really rich content. But I think the new format's going to be neat because it's going to give a bite-sized nugget that if that's all you have time for, that's great.
Yeah. But
the ones that you actually feel like God is stirring you and you really want to take it deeper, there's obviously a way to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a neat blessing.
I mean, obviously we haven't done it yet, but we're excited. We think it's going to be great.
That's true. And telling each of those can lead into a countless world of other things that are on the Ellerslie world, just because there's so much resource if we wanted to do it. So anyway, I'm all that to say, I am so excited about this new season. Any quick final thoughts of expectancy or?
I just, with the world turning the way it is, I think it excites me to even just sort of amp up. It's like, let's turn up the volume of the gospel right now. And we have taken for granted in this country, I think we've all been caught red-handed, taking for granted the liberties and the freedoms we have had. Even to do something like this. We may not be able to even finish up another year like this. If the world continues to erode, we lose some of these luxuries we've had. But while the window is open, let's just fill the airwaves. Let's take on the prince of the power of the air. Let's bark out the glories of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Let's be bold. We have one shot at this thing called life. And for us, daily thundering is just part of our role in that. So it's a great privilege.
That's good. Well, from now until May, we are so excited for this new season. Now, we do apologize if someone wants to actually come to the campus and watch us live. That's actually not a normal thing except on Sundays until the new season. But please consider joining us for this brand new season of Daily Thunder starting today and going through the end of May. So find out more by going to ellerslie.com/daily, which is where everything's going to be hosted. And until next time, Eric and I are cheering you on.